To call this session of our City Council work study to order here on May 19th. If you would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The mayor is out this evening celebrating, I believe it's his mother's birthday, if I'm correct on this trip. So this is 2 weeks in a row. Some of us haven't seen him. I wasn't able to catch him on Saturday, but I understand some of you saw him this weekend. With that being said, we do have a presentation this evening, and so I would like to welcome our partners from Walmart who approached our city staff with a potential opportunity here in the city of Port Orchard to be a first in our state, if that's still the case, or at least on the leading edge. So I'm going to let Director Bond introduce them.
Well, we're going to keep it a little more high level than that
Okay.
tonight, but I'd like to introduce Deborah Herron from Walmart and Kendall Prosak from Wing, which is a drone company that is working with Walmart, and they're going to share their presentation on Zoom here. Should you enable sharing it, Janine? There we go. All right, so I'm going to hand it over to Deborah.
Good evening. I'm Deborah Herron with Walmart. I do the state and local government affairs in the Northwest, based in Portland. And we wanted to come to your work session tonight. Oh, are you catching me okay? All right. We wanted to come to the work session tonight because Walmart is looking at expanding. It's really an incremental additive to our delivery service capabilities, and that would be by offering drone delivery service for our customers. We're looking at a number of states across the country, and tonight we really wanted to bring this to you for an informational purpose, to let Wing talk about the services they provide, the actual equipment that they manufacture. They are our partner in this atmosphere, no pun intended, but they are a partner with us in a number of locations, and this is really for us to be able to say, here are some things that we're thinking about, and get, most importantly, feedback from you all as city council members and knowing the community, both here in Port Orchard and in Kitsap County, and so that we can take that feedback and come back to you at a later time with more defined plans.
I'm Kendall Prosak. I lead our local policy and community affairs team at Wing, and I've been with the company for about 5 years and sit in Austin, Texas, but I promise I will not be a stranger. So to give a little bit of background on Wing, we're an alphabet company, and we are the global leader in residential drone delivery. Very fancy way to say, and I'll wrap up our history really quick, but we actually started in the Google Moonshot factory in 2012, and until 2018, we just worked on our drone design, our FAA waivers and approvals to be able to make a safe, actionable service before actually going to market. So we worked on that for 6 years. We finally got that. We launched in Australia first in 2019, and then slowly started to come to the US. Since then, we've grown very significantly. As Deborah had mentioned, we operate in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas Metroplex, Greater Houston, Greater Atlanta, Charlotte, North Carolina, Bentonville, Arkansas, just to name a few. We serve over 1 million customers, and in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, we average over 1,000 deliveries a day. This video that I'm going to show really quickly just highlights our opportunity of what we call a nest, where the drones take off and land from in the parking lot at a Walmart. This is in one of our locations in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, and you can see an employee's coming out to load a drone up that's going to the customer's house. And once that drone is programmed and called to the customer's house, we'll pack the box up, load the box onto the drone, and the box will snap into the underbelly of the drone. From there, the drone starts to climb to altitude, which is about 150 feet. We're cleared with our FAA approvals and waivers to fly up to 400 feet, and the drone flies as the crow flies as the safely identified route. Once it gets to the customer's house, you can see the drone slowly hovers down at about 20 feet, and the tether with the package will slowly release. Package touches the ground, It unhooks itself with gravity, you get to keep the box, and the drone will fly back to the Walmart to charge up and wait for another customer delivery to come through. These are our two drones that are approved currently through the FAA. So the one on the left-hand side of the screen has a payload of just under 2.5 pounds. The drone itself weighs just under 12 pounds, and the cruising speed is about 55 miles an hour. On the other side of the screen, you see that the payload increases to about 5 pounds. The drone weighs just under 20 pounds, and this cruising speed is about 60 miles an hour. They both have a two-way range of 6 miles, so think 12 miles round trip. And then I really like to point out they're so lightweight and fast because they're designed with carbon fiber and foam. So think your bicycle helmet, they're designed with very similar material. They're designed to be frangible. Privacy is something that comes up a lot in our conversations, so we like to point this out very early on. Our drones do not have a live feed on them, and we don't have pilots in the traditional sense who are flying the drones from a control center. Rather, we have to call our drone pilots in command per FAA waivers, and what they're actually doing is sitting in a controlled remote operations center. We have several throughout the United States, but in Dallas, for example, that's our biggest operation. They're just sitting in a room a little smaller than this size, looking at different screens of airspace, weather, a physical overlay of NES, and what else is going on in airspace. So back to the privacy, what the drone is actually looking at is difference in elevation, like you can see here on the screen. The drone is picking up from a backup navigation lens to identify difference in altitude. So if for whatever reason the drone has to land now because it needs to defer airspace to the police department or a helicopter that's coming through, something of that nature, the drone will already say, that tree is really high, safe out of the way. I'm not going to land in the public right of way like the sidewalk or the street. I'll land in a tree and come get me later. Second thing that comes up a lot is sound. So I like to address this. In the middle of the screen, you can see 43 decibels on average. This is when our drone is in that flight mode to the customer's house or coming back to the nest. This is when the drone is flying at about that 150 feet. And you can see at 43 decibels on average, we're well under the ambient suburban noise, which is about 50 decibels. And then on the right-hand side of the screen, you see 62.6 decibels on average. This is when our drone is in package delivery mode, dropping off at the customer's house. We are there for no more than 60 seconds, and you can see that this is right in line with a delivery truck or a car passing through a neighborhood street. Last thing just to touch on is community outreach. We recognize this is a very new technology and new innovation, so we not only like to partner with Walmart to bring tabling opportunities physically in the stores, so we can set up like you see here with the Easter Bunny or anywhere else, that we're physically bringing one of our demo drones so people can pick it up, touch it, feel it, start to ask questions about this technology, because we recognize even if you're choosing not to opt in, we all live in the community and you're still going to see a drone flying overhead. So we want to be able to bring that information to residents up front. And then we also want to work in tandem with you, the chamber, any other group that already exists for events, opportunities to be able to get the word out and meet residents where they are. I think that's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Do you do nighttime deliveries, and if so, are they lit up with LEDs?
Great question. We are approved with the FAA to fly from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So once it gets into those darker hours, the drone, let me see if you can, on like the sides of the booms on the middle, there are lights there that illuminate, but they're not that bright.
Right.
Yeah,
Just for markers more than anything else?
exactly.
Eric, then Heidi.
Yeah, why is Port Orchard such a good candidate to be the first retail to be tried?
We are actually meeting with city council members from many locations across the state. So we have, yeah, we have 64 stores across the state of Washington, different communities, and this happened to be the right timing on your calendar. Yeah.
Perfect, nope, sounds good, I like that.
Heidi?
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about like the long-term environmental impact and the wildlife disruption, and especially going 50 miles per hour and 60 miles per hour. And then, you know, even the urban, air congestion. And so it, and I got some other ones, but go ahead.
Happy to
Those
address
ones.
that, absolutely. So great question. With the FAA, just like a flight going out of SeaTac to San Francisco, they have to, as they're adding in another flight pattern, have to go through something called an environmental assessment and understand how is going to have an impact on the environment, good, bad, or otherwise. Actually means. There are things like noise, different patterns, disruptions, as well as like the birds, bats, bees, all of that stuff that's taken into that report. Bringing it back to drone delivery, we have to do something incredibly similar. So right now, we are going through that process with the FAA for a nationwide programmatic environmental assessment. And we're hoping to have that final report sometime this week through the FAA. And once we have it, they will set more of those parameters of what that impact will be and what our thresholds will look like. So I can speak to what they gave us in Dallas. So in Dallas-Fort Worth, the report said there's no significant impact to the environment, basically until we exceed 75 nests, these takeoff and landing areas, and then exceed over 400 flights a day out of each one of those facilities. So the FAA will produce guidelines regarding that for us.
So, oop.
Environmental background as, let's say, like Fort Worth, Texas.
It would likely cover the areas in which they're called Mode C Vales. So think of 30 nautical miles around their 38 large metropolitan airports. So Seattle being one of them. So that's what we're looking at in the report.
Okay, Mark.
So, with the 5-pound max payload, Aunt Sally's not gonna get her groceries for the week. In Dallas-Fort Worth, you mentioned that being your #1 market. What's the typical, maybe top 3 usages of this product?
Great question. It's typically household goods and over-counter from pharmacy items. So because our delivery is about 30 minutes or less with Walmart on the drone delivery capability, you're exactly right. We're not looking at delivering full grocery orders to date. It's rather you have company coming over on Sunday afternoon and you forgot those 2 key ingredients for a recipe, or you have sick kids or grandkids at home, and rather than wrangling everyone in the car, fighting traffic to get there, we can deliver those items to you in 30 minutes or less.
So what are the prohibitions on what we don't care?
Great question. So the FAA sets that, it's basically dangerous goods. So think batteries, vanilla extract is one of them, alcohol, polish. I'm trying to think, it's very strange with some of the qualifiers. And then right now we do not either because we don't have live feed. And then there's also like talking to the Board of Pharmacy at the state, things of that nature. When we do launch a program like that, we want to ensure that the prescriptions are getting in the hands of the correct people.
Eric?
Have the other communities had much theft? Because like, I can't really track an Amazon vehicle or a Walmart delivery car, right? But I can see some of the thieves, you know, tracking a drone coming, you know, around the community. So they're tracking them, you know, Porsche isn't that big, right? Not that hard to really see and track it. Are there many reports of thefts and things like that?
We haven't seen it, and I think particularly because it's such a short delivery window that by the time you order, you know it's coming in 30 minutes or less, and then you'll also see a countdown in the app. So usually around 5 minutes or less, you'll start to see a Google Maps overlay for the user, so you'll know exactly where the drone's coming from. And I would say the biggest thing I hear from residents and customers who use it is they're already home, so they know that window's tight. They just want to go collect the package and be about their day.
Sure.
Before I get to Scott, I'm gonna jump in with my question here. So we are Walmart delivery users at our household. I have never actually done it myself, but we get multiple deliveries every week. Now, that's a scheduled delivery. Like, if she tells me that she can schedule that time, can you do that with the drone delivery? One, and then two, how many deliveries would we potentially be making here in Port Orchard?
At this time, you cannot schedule a delivery, but that might be something we'd look at in the future, so we'll come back to you on that one. As far as deliveries, I think we're still waiting on the guidance from the FAA, and then would have a larger conversation with you all if we choose to move forward.
I guess maybe I didn't phrase that way. How many would you project would be transferred maybe from doing it via ground a day into utilizing this? I don't know if that's something you guys look at store by store to look at ticket number?
I would have to go look at the
So you don't
data
have-
sets for
okay,
that.
okay.
You know, in general, customers are choosing this, as Kendall was talking about, for that last minute item, or I was just at the store and I forgot to get, you know, chicken stock, and I need it. For the scheduling delivery question, it default schedules, because you're choosing that short time frame. And we would have, I think we would come back to you with a more, concrete projection or forecast
Okay.
for the
Sorry.
number.
Mayor
Perfect,
Pro
thank
Tem,
you.
sorry, can I interject? I've received a couple emails that some of you are just a little hard to hear, so the microphones unfortunately are
do need to get a little
picking
closer.
up as well as
Yep.
we thought. So if you could just make sure the microphone is pointing towards you or close when you're speaking, that would be great. Thank you.
Janine. Okay, I'm gonna do it this way, because all three of you, so I'm gonna go Scott, Jay, then Heidi.
Okay, so I think part of the answer to your question was these go as the crow flies, and so to try and chase that down might be kind of difficult, perhaps. But I had a couple questions. So this is subscription-based, if you wanted to use the drone service?
It is not.
Oh, okay.
So right now, or rather, if we were to come launch here tomorrow, we would start on the Wing app, and then eventually we would go over into Walmart's app.
Okay. Then my next question is what happens if the line and hook gets caught when it's all the way lowered, or let's say a kid grabs onto it?
Great question. This is one of my favorites.
what I would've done.
So the tether is not actually attached to anything in the drone, so you have to pull really hard. We have a video with some of the guys from Mythbusters, actually, so if you get lost on our YouTube page, you've been warned, but it's a very cool video. So basically, if you tug 3 times, the spool will just come out. We keep the drone, you keep that, you also get kicked off the platform. Yeah.
You know some people are gonna do that.
Two questions. One is, what's your time frame for trying to come into Port Orchard, schedule-wise? And the second question is probably more important, is notification of residents to how do you get the word out on a continual basis? Because some people will be worried about their airspace.
Why don't you take the second question first?
Sure. So in terms of notification, I think once we identify a timeline, that's something we want to work in tandem with you all on, so we know the best channels to reach out to community, residents, et cetera, and start doing a lot of that community engagement work that I'd mentioned, like pop-ups at the farmer's market, if there's coffee with the mayor, coffee with council member, tabling at Walmart, things of that nature. We will also do digital ad notifications through Nextdoor, Meta platforms, Google Ads, things of that nature. And we'll also typically do postcard mailings to people's physical mailboxes as well. So we want to do as much as we can to really make sure that we're educating and informing residents that this is a possibility, you might see this technology, and also be there to answer questions with them. So I hope I answered that question. Okay.
And then time frame, as I said at the beginning, we're really in the early stages for Washington State, meeting with city council members and staff all over our properties or our facilities across east to west, and the time frame will narrow down in the forthcoming, like, couple months.
Okay, and so, I'm sorry, just
That's
a
okay.
quick follow-up is, so next fall, a couple of months, so then does that mean we want to get it done by Christmas? We want to get it done by 2027? Just curiosity about that.
At this point, I don't have a locked timeline in terms of we want to get done by X. We really want to collect the feedback from cities that have interest, make sure we're understanding the entitlement process, if there is any concerns, other feedback, get your questions like we are tonight. We'll take that back and then come back to you with more concrete plans.
Heidi?
Now, this has a potential to take jobs away though, right, from the local people? And that's a question there. And then what is the fee on doing something like that? And then, I was kind of going down the rabbit hole and, you know, Amazon does it here and there and a whole bunch of stuff, but there's actually quite a bit of risk when it comes to like cybersecurity, someone watching your, flight path, you know, and then you say there's no cameras, but there has to be cameras at the office to see where everything goes, so they can put the drone in front of your house. And you still, people, I don't know, I just see some, I mean, I got a whole list down here of, you know, the cameras and what is about collision, and then you got the weather. I mean, if the weather's really bad, then it's like, okay, you can't do that.
I'm
today.
happy to start addressing some of the questions, and if I forget one, please let me know. I'll start backwards. So we have a dedicated airspace outreach manager, so I'm happy when we get further in the process to make sure that he's in touch with you all. He does extensive outreach to anybody who is in airspace, from RC flying drones to the Hot Air Balloon Federation to airports, naval bases, military bases. I mean, you name it, he's making sure that they're in contact with us and we're in contact with them. So in the event that there's a TFR, temporary flight restriction up, those individuals know how to get in contact with us so we can defer the airspace to them. So like, safety is very paramount for us on that front. You'd address job loss. I'm actually seeing the opposite, because we not only have a ground support crew who physically has to put our drones out on these pads every morning, they also have to maintain our nest as well. So we are bringing jobs to the area, and that what we're actually finding with Walmart is once we have those dedicated people who load and pack the drones, Walmart will be likely adding more to the store associate program through that as well. So you'd asked that. There was one other.
Oh, the fee.
Do you know the fee?
Well, I don't have it offhand. I think that if you're a Walmart Plus member, there's a lower cost, and then there's a fee of some kind if you're not a Walmart Plus member.
I heard, was there a $20 fee just to get it to the house?
That maybe, I'd have to double check, and I would rather double check and get exactly
For
the right
sure,
answer
yeah.
than to say something incorrectly right now.
And I do know when we typically launch on the Wing app to start, it's free, because we want the feedback from the community.
Have you had any like collisions with any of the drones or anything like that?
No, we have an extensive strategic deconfliction with our drone program. So I was actually just sharing with Deborah earlier today. Last summer, we invited all of the other drone operators in the area in Dallas to come out and to start operating alongside with us, so we could prove out to the FAA our strategic deconfliction. And once we got to a park, the FAA said, "What are we supposed to look at?" And we said, "Absolutely nothing. That's the point. Like, you don't want to see us in airspace with other people." So I think that's part of the program too, that our airspace coordinator will be sure to get into that information with.
I would think there'd be a lot of educational, you know, to go to school for that, because you can't just fly a drone up in that airspace like that, you know.
Right, so our drones are highly automated, so when you put your address in as the customer, the machine is basically saying, based on weather, airspace restriction, all these other qualifiers, we're gonna fly this route to get to your house today. And then somebody could order again at 6:54 the exact same time the next day, and the drone will say, "Oh, the weather's changed, we're actually gonna fly this route to get to your house." So it's really safe in terms of that regard, but we're also pushing randomized routes, so then if we're all next door neighbors and I'm a power user, you're not getting impacted by the overhead flight that the drone's just coming to me.
Nice. Who outside, because I think I've heard you talk about the FAA as a regulator, who else are you getting permits and regulations?
once we're in the air, it's just the FAA. So on the city side, we would be talking with you on mostly site approvals on
For the
the
nest.
nest, the ground operation.
Okay. And kind of along some of Councilmember Fenton's line there, say sudden loss of power or something like that, and this thing falls out of the sky, I assume you have liability insurance and things, and how would one know, and are they demarcated on your units to say, hey, if you experience something here, call this number and we're happy to help you?
Yes. The drones all have tail numbers, and then they also have a direct, like, phone number linked to our chief pilot.
Okay, perfect. Scott?
So I may be in the weeds a little bit, or maybe ahead of, well, maybe not. You're working on your PEIS. Have you been able to calculate what the carbon footprint savings looks like? Mileage, emissions in the Pacific Northwest, we're sensitive about tire compounds. What does that look like, or are you able to tell?
It's something we're working on right now, so I don't have data to share today, but I'm happy to give it to you as soon as we do have more numbers.
Yeah, when this program starts, I'm sure it won't be too long before the drone's size increase. Right? I mean,
These are-
that's just how it works.
Not for us, so
Not
these
for
two
you.
drones that we have, the one on the left-hand side of the screen has been the drone that we've been flying for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And the reason we increased a little bit to a 5-pound payload is because of community ask as well as our partner
For sure.
Walmart. So we don't personally have plans to continue to increase our drone because, as you can imagine, the bigger the drone, the louder it's going to be. So that is a reason you see how big these propellers are, because they cut the wind a different way. So we've been able to keep the decibels low.
So you're planning on just sticking at five pounds for
For now, yes.
now?
So for now.
So in the future, if you were to go above 5 pounds, let's say 10, you need a larger drone. Are you going to, like, come back here and say the noise decibels are gonna be higher? Or do we say, I don't even know if we vote on this, but do we just say yes now? And then that means that's good for future improvements if you want a larger drone?
It's a great question. I think for us, our goal is always to ensure that our drone is well within city noise restrictions and what those noise ordinances are. So I don't have an answer for you today on that, but we don't have plans to create a larger drone today.
Before I go to Councilmember Dedman, I had to look it up. I had no idea what 43 decibels meant. It says it's the same as a running refrigerator. So whatever noise your refrigerator makes, that's what you expect to hear here. Councilmember
A
Dedman.
drone went over my house the other day. It's awful. It made me panic, especially because my kid was outside, and then it was up above, and I was like, "Oh, you think that your backyard is a safe space for your child?" And then all of a sudden, I felt very
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Councilmember Dedman, can you move the microphone closer to you? We cannot hear you.
Oh, we were talking about the decibels of a drone, and I was saying there was a drone that was above my backyard like a week ago, and it was very disconcerting. Even if it wasn't the loudest thing you've ever heard, having that, it's very hard on the nervous system, especially because my child was outside, and there was nothing you can do about it. You feel very powerless. So even if it's not the loudest thing, it's enough to be. It's loud enough to impact the nervous system for sure.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Yeah. Councilmember Dean?
So I have another question, but I can go towards the end. But this question is, based on what we just heard, it begs the question of, are these front yard landings or are these backyard landings?
Great question. So it depends on what your parcel of land looks like. We're basically looking for an obstruction-free picnic blanket 6x6 size space to make a delivery to your house. So it could be in your driveway, it could be in your backyard, it could be in your front yard. It really just depends what your personal parcel looks like. Before we go into a city, we collect that LiDAR data and then import that through our system to pre-identify zones. So we've had people call us to say we'd actually prefer it to be in our front yard, that tree is no longer there that you're seeing through Google Maps or however we're collecting that data. So we can make improvements that way.
Nope, unfortunately. Does anybody else here have any questions? And I can send somebody over there to get his question if they'd like to do so and ask on his behalf. Go ahead.
I got one. So
Go ahead,
there's other
Councilman.
Walmarts in Kitsap County. There's a county one, there's a Paulsbo Walmart as well. Are you engaging them at this time as well?
We're talking to a number of, we're talking to city councils and staff at what I would call, I think you said it correctly, Kendall, the MSEP,
Modsey Vale.
Modsey Vale. Sorry.
We have a point of order.
Oh, wait.
Right, so last I
So,
recall, you're,
Yeah, at this point, the Modsey Vale, which Wing operates under, which are FAA requirements, dictates the 38 major airports across the country that allow for drone usage under their current operating parameters. So SeaTac is one of those. So as we are doing this outreach across our fleet of facilities, we're talking to a number of city councils and staff where we have Walmarts currently.
are you not able to say who you're talking to specifically?
No, they're not. They are not going to give you that data.
Okay. I just think there might be, if we wanted to talk to.
I'm happy to connect with you one-on-one to have
Okay.
more in-depth conversation. At this point in time, that's as much as I can
That's
share.
fair. I respect that.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
a very transparent person, so I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation with everybody around the
I
table.
totally get it. Don't kill the messenger.
Do any of you have a question for Deborah Kendall before I open it up to staff? Yep. Councilmember Dedman.
Could you explain?
Grab that mic real quick.
Could you explain what the experience is for folks living in an apartment building?
Great question. Yes, so right now, we're actually rolling out a multifamily home program. So as we do that, we are starting to set up those delivery zones, very similar process that we do single-family homes. And we would love to get that feedback from multifamily homes to understand, we can only see what we see on the computer. Did we accidentally identify a zone that's in the dog park in a complex? Because that is not the experience we want to deliver. So this is coming. They would be more earmarked as public delivery zones at that point, rather than someone getting a delivery directly to their balcony, but it would be at a multifamily complex.
So, a lot of good information tonight. Is there a brochure or a publication or something that people could look at to learn the same information that we're learning? Have you rolled something out in jurisdictions that are already doing this?
Yes, wing.com/learnmore is probably the best place for information right now. And then in terms of jurisdictions that we already operate in, I would say Atlanta has one of the most robust presence out there online right now.
Okay.
Okay, staff, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I was just going to offer a little bit of commentary for the city council about the status of our code. And so currently our code does not identify drone delivery as a land use in our land use table, either as a principal use or an accessory use. And so when uses are not identified in our table, it's up to the director to make a code interpretation about whether something is or is not allowed, and we have to look at similar uses. And there's a whole list of criteria that we follow when we make that, when I would make that decision. And then, of course, it is council's prerogative if you want to look at drone regulations. I did a search through Code Publishing and have found that in the Dallas area, anywhere, there's a couple of cities that have identified an accessory use of drone delivery. I think it's small and drone delivery large. And so there are some regulations out there for the land use aspect of this. We can't regulate the flight of drones. We do have local control for land use regulations. And I think it's something that the council, if it's a priority for you to look at, I'm happy to work on that. Otherwise, if the application came in, we would have to make an interpretation based on what's in our code today.
Councilmember Dino.
So, in terms of the business of commerce, right, Walmart as the example here, wouldn't the drone, be incidental to that business so that when you're looking at maybe a similar use determination or accessory use determination, if they were to simply describe their business model differently, wouldn't that be covered?
Well, I don't want to make an interpretation here in a
Right.
public meeting.
Got it.
But I would say the comparison is that there are vehicle deliveries originating from Walmart today.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know that there was any specific approval that was sought for that.
Right.
But there is delivery from Walmart and other stores in Port Orchard today.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other staff? That will include you, Ms. Archer, if you so chose to participate.
No questions, thank you.
Okay. All right. Jay?
I'm not sure how we wrap this up since we're at work study, but I would certainly like to proceed with knowing more, and technology is moving whether we like it or not. I would definitely be interested in moving this forward to some regard.
So I would concur, and I think that's just what we heard out of Director Bond there. He's looking for a little bit of guidance on how we want to do that, so we don't just leave it completely in his hands. So I think I will be looking for a thumbs up, have him go ahead and prepare something he would bring for us to look at and approve.
I don't think it's super urgent, they don't have a time.
Yeah, so,
I'd like to know
so,
more.
yeah, and if you guys want to take the land use, I don't know, I'll let land use decide with Director Bond on how to do that, but I would say, I'd probably start with having him draft something and then go from there. Okay, sounds like, you
Yeah,
got some
I-
work to do, Director Bond. Yeah. Hi, did you have something else? Okay.
Yeah, well, I would also be curious to really see what our public thinks about this. And, yeah, get more information. I see a lot of, that you say there's not a lot of risk, but I feel like the environment is going to be hurt by this.
Yeah.
Especially thousands of drones going by, and we're in a small little area here.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
I think we'll
50
have
to
that opportunity
60.
to go through iterations here, and so I think we're just going to, unless you had something germane to add, we're gonna have him move forward with drafting something.
Agreed. Drafting, I think what, I kind of agree with Councilman Fenton in the sense, or Councilmember Fenton, in the sense of getting input from the public is really important. I think I'm the only one here on this council that has young children. And so I think that I hear my concern, and so I definitely would love to hear the concern of the larger public about this issue.
We'll move forward from there, Director Bond.
And I will just ask our presenters, if you have any codes that other cities have adopted that you think are a good starting place, please send those my way, and I will certainly look at them.
Thank you for being here with us this evening.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you sharing a little bit about your businesses with us.
Yeah, and thank you for all the comments. We've got a lot of good feedback, so.
Real quick, are our comments pretty similar to other cities that you've had in the past? All right, cool, thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, team, we are on to discussion item B, Town Hall debrief and planning. That is your prerogative, Councilmember. So, we have an upcoming town hall, I believe 2 weeks from this, 2 weeks and 2 days. And so we haven't taken the opportunity to debrief our last town hall. And this is semi-last in a informal setting, sit here and discuss any changes we would want to make to that and how we would want to do that moving forward. So let's take the opportunity to discuss, and I think we're going to bite this into two different pieces right now. or three different pieces, I'm sorry. Let's talk about the first things that we liked, and then we'll come back once we kind of talk through that. Then we'll talk through some things we'd like maybe seen changed, and then after that, we'll kind of solidify what the next one will look like. Does that sound fair to everybody?
Sure.
Perfect. I guess since Councilmember Worden had his finger up first, and then we'll go to Councilmember Fenton.
Yeah, I really like what Megan brought to the table that day. Those fact sheet, the information cards and whatnot, that was a nice surprise. So I'm really glad that she brought those. That was actually a big add to not only the program, but we brought them to Coffee with Council as well. And small things like that make a big difference. So I appreciate that. Are we starting off with things that we should
Keep?
keep?
Things we liked.
All right. Things that we liked. I liked the energy. I liked John leading the way. That was nice. That was good energy. Kept the flow going real well. I'm going to leave it at that. Only because I like how Mark presented. I caught myself doing not quite the same, and I learned from that. So I'm gonna stop there because the other half of it is kind of where I want to go with it.
Councilmember Fenton.
Yeah, I thought the flow went really well, and we didn't talk past our 5 minutes. We didn't get stopped, and the audience seemed engaging. And so, we have kind of the same format right here. I think the format is really good. And then, so do I stop there? That's what I like.
The things you like, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys as
Boom.
many as you want.
Yeah, and I like those cards, so let's use those cards again, for sure. Well, and I read one thing off of one of the cards, and someone wanted like water and snack, so I think we should have water and snack. Hey, I read that. I think that could be a good thing. But that's when we change. That's when we put something on here. So I know.
We will take that into consideration. So I'm hearing when you say that format and nobody going over, do you feel like the standing next to you when you have 1 minute left just helps? Because I was tried to be as thoughtful as I could to find nobody wants to be saying you're out of time, right? Like in those kinds of things. That way, it's just kind of a gentle reminder that we're coming to a close here. So okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Councilmember Chineri.
Doesn't your Rotary Club have a reminder for their speakers? Very similar, I would think.
Ish, yeah. I don't know that we have any actual set anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just be brief. I thought it was better than I expected for the first meeting. It ran very smoothly. I think everybody stayed on target and did a great job with their presentations. We're just staying positive, right?
Right now, we're staying positive.
I will also agree with Eric and Heidi that we had, if we had more flyers, more handouts, more things of that nature, I think that would be beneficial to the attendees there. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Councilmember Rose Pepe.
Two things. One, I'm glad we invited people from all over the city, that we had a mix because they brought different questions that other people were able to hear. The second thing was the breakout sessions afterwards. So it wasn't like 2 hours of presentation and questions. We had time to meet with people separately, and people could talk with us separately. I met a couple people I didn't know. I mean, that they knew my wife, but I hadn't met them, so that was good. So I would, it was sort of like an hour, 45 minutes of presentations, half hour what we did of questions, and then breakout sessions, and I think that worked out well. I know we were talking about next time of having some boards there, on tripads. I think that's an excellent idea too, because visuals always do that. So that's the like. I'll bring the ones that we can improve on in a second.
Perfect. Thank you. Councilmember Diener.
So we're doing like an after-action review on how it went?
So right now, we're doing just the things we like, and then we'll move into the things we'd like to see change next.
Okay. Well, I mean, there wasn't anything I didn't like. I think there's things we could do better. And so-
Well, so we're gonna get to that. So if there's nothing added on the things, I wanted to make sure we heard from the people on the things we want to keep. Councilmember Dedman's the only one. Anything above anybody else had to add?
No,
Okay,
I think everybody made really good points.
perfect. Now we can open up to the things we'd like to see modified. Scott.
So, Jay stole my thunder. I really think visuals have a significant part of how people understand projects, especially when you're talking about physical improvements to an area. Like the roundabout renderings that we have really speak a lot, better than I could do when I was trying to explain what it is we're doing. So I would really like to see that we have visuals. People love that stuff. That helps generate questions. And to that end, I would like to see that we don't necessarily, if it's a 7 o'clock start, that we actually begin the formal process at, say, 7:20 or 7:30. That allows for a couple things. It allows for your latecomers to get in and they haven't actually missed anything. But it also allows for people in the earlier scenario of having visuals to walk around and look at these and then decide, I've got a question when my time comes. So just a little bit of wandering around, maybe catching people, us, others, one-on-one. It seems to work pretty well with some of the open house events that I do and workshops that I do. Just helps people kind of break the ice a little bit up front in a little free time. And then you get into the formal process of whatever we want to do next. My two observations.
I got a question. Go ahead.
I'm hearing some background noise or feedback.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, not going crazy. Good.
You're not. At least not this time.
Yeah, give it a week.
Yeah. So, I would like to have the ability to do a PowerPoint. In other words, bring a presentation. So like when I talk about parks, it'd be nice to show the city map and these are our parks. Because one of the questions that came up, or not a question, but a comment was being made about there's city parks and then there's the parks that are at developers. So it's kind of like damned if you do and damned if you don't. Same way with the comp plan. When you talk about the comp plan and you explode, you go, here's the comp plan 2024. If I got the date wrong, Nick, don't weigh in. And then, say, hey, these are the components of the comp plan. Boom, and this is what I want to focus on. So if I'm doing that, if somebody else wants to do it, I'm all in favor of it. So that would be something I would like to do.
Yeah,
Councilmember Fenton?
when, Councilmember, Scott, when you said to start a little bit later, just clarify a little bit, because we start at 6, and then we have our little introduction, and then we're pretty much need to go on task here, or, so I didn't know what you meant by
So I think
going
what he's trying to
20
say is
minutes
we advertised the event at 6, and we started right just 2 minutes after 6. He's saying, I'd like to see that. And maybe there's definitely room, because we start then the breakout conversations around 7:25, and really had left, 35 minutes for that. I think if we're splitting that up, we're accomplishing some of that little at the beginning. So I think there's some room that I will already look to maybe suggest to say, hey, maybe we leave about 15 minutes at the beginning there to do some of that, allow for some of those late stragglers. Then we're really only at 7:40. We still have 20 minutes for another roundtable breakout from there as well.
Okay,
So-
and then I like the visual stuff that you guys are talking about. So does that mean like you guys are gonna get together with the staff
Well,
and put this together?
We don't know yet. We're gonna have to talk through that, because I'm gonna
Okay.
bring that wrinkle here when we start talking about, so.
Okay.
2 weeks, good reminder.
Councilmember Trenary.
I'm gonna tag on to this. There's another option to look at to make improvements with this. The visuals, I think, are important. We've done city outreach at Saturday markets for.
Sorry, just a reminder, thank you.
And city
Perfect.
outreach at the farmers markets for, over the last couple of years, whether it's transportation projects or parks, pre the last parks levy. So I think those are important to have, perhaps located around the room. And then I'd like to stay on myself, I'm kind of detailed. I like the idea of staying on target with our timelines, but when we're done with our presentations, if the attendees have the ability, which they will have, to walk around the room and look at the visuals physically, after listening to our presentations, that could spark some questions of which when we're out waiting for the breakout sections, or we're even in the breakout, they can meander around the room and find the right folks who address that topic and ask those questions at that time as well. So I think it's important, myself, if we're going to publish and say we're starting at 6 o'clock, we need to stay on that. That's my opinion there. Secondly, the other thing, tagging onto that again, the breakouts. I don't think we did a very good job of, and we could do a better job of separating and staying in locations where folks can come find us rather than us just meandering around the room. I think we will be better if we do that with the upcoming town hall meetings. And then finally, I would love to do a quicker debrief than months down the road on this next town hall, because a lot of the energy, a lot of the ideas, a lot of the thoughts have been watered down with daily life of business owners and workers. It's not quite as detailed in our minds any longer, at least for me, as it was a week or so after that meeting.
Jay wants a second bite before I give it away.
Brendan?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I said Jay, didn't I? I meant Scott.
Yeah, so definitely, I can self-reflect on myself and do much better than how I presented. I talked to John about it, and I was trying not to read my notes, and I probably should have read notes better. I'm not the best public speaker in the world, but that's how you get better, is getting up there and doing it. I was curious if anybody wanted to do like some horse trading and trade subject matter, if they wanted to do something different versus they did last time. Just because you did it last time doesn't mean you have to do it this time, but we have 2 weeks before we do it again. So, may not be that comfortable with it. I was curious if anybody thought of different topics that we could have covered that we did not cover. And also, this next town hall downtown may bring several more businesses possibly as well. So I was wondering if there's any subjects that we should add on to it versus the ones that we covered. Yeah, that's basically right. That's basically it. I was trying to cover was I was trying to brainstorm myself if there's things that we could have covered that we did not. Something that might be more beneficial than utility rates, because I didn't think that was probably the sexiest conversation. And maybe there's other things that I could have discussed besides utility rates. And if I do it again, I'm gonna need to bring some fact sheets that kind of spell it out and break it down, because more people are surprised that we have coffee with council. I've heard Jay break it down multiple times on how utility rates are, and fees are billed. So not everybody understands that. That's why I thought it'd be kind of important to offer that. But maybe that's not really the best setting for it as well. So that's my topics, my thoughts.
Okay. I'm going to go back. If nobody else wants a first bite, I have 2 people with a second bite of the apple. Go ahead, Sharon. I'm terrible. I'm going back and forth with everybody tonight. I'm sorry.
I'm saying it doesn't matter to me. In fact, when people email me, I'm always like, my name is Shira.
Yeah.
It's fine. One of the things is there I guess my question is there assumption that we won't have repeat folks showing up? I didn't realize the plan, I wasn't under the impression that the plan was to duplicate the first town hall. I thought the town halls were going to be a little bit unique from one another. And so it's the first time I guess I'm hearing this idea that we would be duplicating like the same topics and whatnot.
We haven't made those decisions, so that's what we're here to discuss, right? Like,
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying, sorry.
No,
My-
so
My
I-
brain, my brain heard it just incorrectly, I apologize.
he's asking, are there topics we should add or delete? And then he's also asking, would we like to take different topics so that you may cover something distinctly different than I might, right?
Yeah, okay, then my answer is yes, I do think we should cover different topics.
That's fair, that's fair. Then it's gonna go, Scott, and then Heidi.
So I think this discussion, Shira, is all about, like, should we be doing it differently? Like, I think we talked about before as well.
No, that I got, it was the topics that I got, I was like, wait a
The
second.
subject matters.
Yeah, it's subject matter.
I'm one of those people that if I'm gonna be public speaking, I have to prepare notes. And often they're pretty heavy, like I need to read them. And so I prepared all my work for the roundabout, so I'd prefer to keep that. But I wanted to say something about Mark's comments, which was, I think we've been to meetings where people have been kind of the host of that visual or those two visuals. Let's just use roundabouts as an example. And I can speak to people, and I might be speaking to 5 people who all are wanting to listen and ask questions that others in that 5 are interested in. So I think there's value in standing by visuals and having the breakout come to you instead of just kind of wandering around, shaking hands with people, and so that's my 2 cents. I think there's value in that.
Heidi, then Mark.
Oh, yeah, I kind of like my topic too. I get excited about the downtown. And I don't think we talked about the grant program, so that would be really good for the business people, and I see you have it on here. Oh, okay, but just bring that out more, maybe more detail, because that's going to affect them down there. And then maybe think about, I like the way, yeah, you're focusing on the business since we're down there, and we'll probably have more business people there. And so it doesn't come up the top, but there's some stuff too that it's like POWA thinks about. So I think that's really good to focus a little bit like that.
Mark, then Shira.
Well, I'll just say there's pros and cons to looking at the topic discussion, both ways. You know, having the same topic, you're going to improve your presentation. We all do what Eric mentioned already. We all are probably our own worst enemies, and so we all critiqued ourselves, or we critiqued ourselves, rather than anyone else. So having that same topic, you will improve on. But at the same time, changing topics, I don't mind doing that. I've been on councils probably midterm longer than a lot of you guys, and so I've been on committees and I know a little more detailed information, but I'm also very willing to ask our department heads to help me gather that information. So I have no preference one way or the other, but we do need, if we're going to make a change, we need to make that change quickly so we can have the time.
If we're going to, we're going to do it tonight.
Okay, great. That's it for me.
Okay, Shira. Shira, then Jay.
Givens Park and Givens in general. Topic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to come, I'm going to write that down, but we're going to come back for topics here once we get done with this, because then we'll start talking about how we actually want this to look next time, and talk about the things that we have talked about and which ones do we all agree. So, Jay.
No, I was just gonna say in the comment about the topics is that I would, and assumption's always a bad thing, but we're holding it in 3 different locations. I've got the one there.
Okay.
3 different locations, and so I would assume that probably 50% plus of this will be new to them. So the continuity of our topics is just as important as trying to tailor it to neighborhoods and stuff. So this first go around, this first year, I think trying to keep a majority of them the same, I think is good, because it allows for consistency.
One quick follow-up. We've all had, what, a month and a half or whatever since this last town hall meeting. Has anyone heard from our citizens that they would like us to discuss anything else? I got positive feedback about all of our discussion topics, but none saying, why didn't you guys talk about this, or why didn't you talk about that?
That's a good point.
So, I mean, Eric, you wanna add topics to it? What do they want to hear?
No,
Here.
no.
Well, he asked you a question, I'll let you respond before I go move. Sure,
Oh,
if you
no,
like.
I was brainstorming if, you guys had ideas of what to add on to it. No, not that, to me, we basically covered several committees in a broad range, and usually what we're discussing is what's most current, right? So I think we covered quite a bit of territory, when we were up there, yeah, so I mean, I'm not sure what's left to cover, that's what I was asking, if anybody had ideas.
Shira, Jay, Scott.
When we originally talked about having the town halls in different areas, it was about tailoring what people care about. We're gonna be next to downtown. I think a big topic that's probably gonna have to be broached is, rezones. So like, that didn't really impact McCormick. Like, when we went to McCormick, nobody cared about that. So, that's why I said, why would anybody care about Givens? They probably don't even understand that Givens is right there. So there's all sorts of topics that are relevant to downtown that people in McCormick would not have cared about.
No, they still
That's why
might have,
I asked the
but yeah,
question.
I like that.
Well, I'm saying might not have cared about. So, because obviously people around here have different discussions.
Okay, Jay?
I agree and disagree, because the reason I say that is in a lot of my walking, people do care about downtown in McCormick Woods, because they want a vital downtown. I think the real question is, how do we take the topics that we have and kind of modify them? Like, if we talk about the Givens, is putting that into the parks discussion, that this is upcoming, because I know one of the things I mentioned last time was about the stormwater park. So this would be an add-on, because that's changed. Givens has come up since then. So the question is, what's different in your presentation, so that you're right, twisting it to kind of where we're at, but also building on it, and things will change as we have more information. But I think it's important to get the same information out to everybody, because they're all residents of our city.
Yes, I'm sorry, and I apologize. I just wanted to clarify that I didn't mean that. I think everybody in Port Orchard cares about the waterfront. So that's not what I meant. I just meant like more things that are related to like the neighborhoods, like the neighborhood, not as opposed to the downtown.
Scott?
So, I was gonna mention, in terms of relevancy, maybe taking the Marina lift station off, because that's kind of,
That's it.
it's a memory now. But then, in terms of talking about rezones, I'd wanna make sure that whatever is conveyed to the public, we're all on the same page about.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know it can be pretty passionate, and we've learned that recently. But also, and this is a question for Nick, we don't get that many rezones. Nick, how many have we had in the last?
I think we,
Yeah.
So let me just specify what I meant when I said that. It's not to go into the particulars of any one rezone, but there was folks reaching out who did not understand our process. And to me, understanding the process is a larger understanding of how local government works and how to engage local government. Understanding our roles, which, who is the one that discussed roles of council? Like, we had a debate like a couple of weeks ago about role of mayor versus role of council. So it's really the whole point of when we even talked about having these town halls was to help elucidate our role as council. And so a lot of folks didn't understand what our role as council was in that rezone. And so that caused a lot of confusion, and I think that if that came up, and maybe, I get why y'all don't want to talk about it, but definitely something that I guess I'll be ready to speak about if anybody has any questions, and people could just say, hey, go talk in that group. Because I do know that folks were reaching out to me because there was they felt like, what just happened? And so, like I said, it's just a larger, to me, people wanting to understand what is it that we do.
before I go any further, Ms. Archer, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you so much. I wanted to offer council as an option. I know I'm not to throw Nick Bond under the bus, but I know he has started a series of seminars for the public, sort of issue 101s. And one option or one potential seminar we could offer is zoning 101, rezone 101, sort of how rezones mechanically work. Because I absolutely agree with the councilwoman that the public wants to hear from their electeds. And then as to the specifics, the mechanics of how that works and what the roles and responsibilities are, I think staff are well equipped to provide that training. And many agencies have had success with those sort of staff-led educational opportunities for businesses, for residences. So that was just one thought I had as I heard the conversation.
And Ms. Archer, while you're on that, I might add, I think I saw, don't quote me, I believe it's in Gig Harbor, but I believe the city of Gig Harbor is doing, is it Bremerton, is doing the, they're doing a civics lesson, if you will, series, right? There, I believe, are 6 or 9 different evenings that you would come together and learn about how your municipality works. So thank you, Councilmember Moore. I knew it was somebody surrounding us, but we may look into some of their program as well. And as I always say, why reinvent the wheel when it's already been done for you?
I just want to follow up on the discussion with Shira, that I think it would be really, it'd be good discussion, probably for a lot of people. It might be one of the more popular discussions about what it is we do and how we do it. But then I think if we want to be careful what we talk about, like rezones don't really touch a lot of people generally, based on experience, but to the point of what is it we do and how we do it, and the civics 101 that Bremerton's offering, I think that would be a great discussion.
Yep. Jay.
Yeah, just really, if you want to go see it, it's City of Bremerton Civics Academy.
Civics, yeah, I knew it had a special name and everything.
It has, anyway, I think that's down the road. To bring us back here,
Yeah.
John, how do we move from
Sure.
here?
So I just want to make sure before I put the button on the things we want to change, because then I'm going to go into, all right, what are we going to do this next time now that we've heard from folks on the things we want to keep the same and the things we'd like to change? So with that being said, I'd like to start with format first, because I think topics is probably going to take us pretty deep. Let's start with format first. So we heard a lot of positive things about the format, the flow, the energy, that kind of stuff. We heard that possibly we want to just start the actual program of the programming a little later. What are our thoughts? I believe, and are we going to have the same capacity that we did last time? A 2-hour window in the room is our official.
I don't have that information, but
Okay.
I can definitely get it for you.
I think we know the owner of the building we're going to be in next, and we can probably have that conversation with her. But I'm going to operate right now off of, we got the 2 hours that we had last time. What do we want to change? Ladies, didn't catch who's going up first, but.
Yeah, I really like our format, but if we wanted to start, like you said, a little bit later, like 6:15, to let people there, little mingle, and then get them, sitting down and going from there, I'd be fine with that. But we gotta pretty much stick to our agenda.
Sharon?
I was going to say, I agree with Scott, whatever he has to say.
I would like to offer a friendly amendment to that, 20 minutes, I think. That allows for your latecomers, but also allows for, 15 minutes goes really fast when you see there are several visuals you want to.
Apologies, we cannot hear Councilmember Diener.
I'm so sorry. So I would say 20 minutes would allow, I think, a good, fruitful review of all the issues in front of us and getting to know some of us before the formalities begin.
Eric?
Are you confident that we can get visuals in 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about for everything. I'm thinking about my stuff. We've already got it.
It's not 2.5 weeks. Yeah. Oh, you already have it?
Well, we've seen renderings of the roundabouts and stuff.
Sure, sure,
So
that's fair.
I know for me, I'm prepared.
Yeah, I think, I like the way it went, but I like what you said as far as when people come in, they can see basically they'll have visual of what is going to be brought up, and that could get their minds thinking, be prepared to ask questions more in advance. I like that. I think an hour is a lot. 20 to 30 minutes. I don't want people to rush there at 6, thinking it starts at 6, but they're just walking around for half an hour.
Yeah.
But in our mind, that is part of it. That is part of the 2 hours from 6 to 6:30. That is part of the 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't want them to think that we're just killing time like a wedding. You know, everyone shows up half hour late.
Yeah.
So they start late.
I have found that people enjoy that time.
I think they could.
Yeah.
I think basically what we're doing is we're flipping the end to the beginning.
Or doing one of
Well, so,
A little bit of
yeah,
both.
I had kind of said a little bit of both
A little
on
bit of
both
both.
ends,
Yeah,
so.
I like that approach.
Because they're gonna see, we're gonna speak, and then they're gonna have more questions.
Yeah, and you, I'll say, probably pretty close of everybody here. You've probably done 200 of these.
I was trying to figure out, it's
Probably
probably closer to
200,
300.
yeah. So, you definitely know what works, what people want.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
I mean,
for open houses, and-
But it's no different than the conferences that we go to.
right?
The conferences that we go to, it's the same thing. They just use a check-in period for it. I would also like to try to have a sign-in sheet, real visible. Did we have that last time? Yeah, if people would like to sign in, I'd like to have like 3 of them. That way, someone's not waiting in line. You know, like 3 sign-in sheets, and they can offer their maybe
Information.
they can bring their questions on there as well.
Can we go to more of a committee of the whole on this discussion, or do you want us to stick with recognizing?
I think we probably better recognize, because then we'll start getting out.
I just have a follow-on to his.
So, and if we're still talking about this, maybe, I'm gonna take a detour quick. Okay, go for it,
So
Scott.
I think that's a great idea. Sign in, email address, would you like to be contacted? Would you like to be on our subscription list? But also, if we could hand them an evaluation sheet as they come in, that they know to fill out before they leave, because we only got 2.
Okay.
So I'd like to see more robust evaluation
Okay.
from the public.
So to kind of get back to the format and adding some of that in at the beginning, I was just going to say to kind of ease some minds. I don't know if anybody else would like to moderate. I would like to offer that to anybody. I'm happy to do it as well. I was also just going to say, if that's the case, maybe we can get a feel of that room, and if we don't need all 20 minutes, we'll just kind of get it started based off of the feel of the room there too.
Absolutely.
And kind of go from there.
I think you do a fine job. I mean, it's below average, but I think you can do better. I think we can stick with you.
That is up to you all, right? Like, I'm not here to,
I think you met expectations.
well,
I think the mayor pro tem is a good place for the moderator.
Okay.
Yeah, you did a good job.
okay.
I think you did a good job.
So, so hearing all that, are we okay with saying, I'm going to put in the 15, 20-ish minutes up front, and we'll know that that's a little squishy? And based off of how the room feels, we'll see whether or not we get started from there.
Yeah. I would say go with the 15, and then you're going to have chairs in the back. People are going to come in no matter what time. I just don't want to go too far back. But also, maybe at the beginning, like you say, a couple sheets of writing your name and like a greeter. And I wouldn't mind like greeting that for like 15 minutes. And say, hey, sign right here. Here, take this evaluation form. Because sometimes it's nice just to greet and hand something to somebody.
Yep, perfect. Okay, so I think that part's handled for format-wise. I'd like to start with add or delete topics before we decide whether or not we want to change topics as individuals, because I think I heard split kind of on both. So earlier, Janine had up the list of the topics up on the screen.
Yeah.
I'll kindly ask her to bring that back up, but if you forgot, I covered the Bay Street Lift, Community Center, Orchard Street Plaza, and the grants program. Councilmember Warden covered sewer rate changers to a consumption model and the Marina Pump Station. Jay covered growth and comprehensive plan, parks and parks levy. Heidi covered FIFA and our downtown beautification stuff. Councilmember Gennari had finance stability and financial audits. And police. Councilmember Dedman covered communications. And Councilmember Diener had Bethel Phase 1, roundabouts, and the non-motorized project of Sydney. The mayor kind of, anything we don't want to cover and he wants covered, we kind of let him.
He had 5 minutes.
Well, he had 10. I'm going to say this, he had 10 after all that consternation over how much, and he only took 5. You know, good on him. So, those were the topics that were covered. And again, the mayor covered a smattering of things outside of that. Are there things we want to delete or add? Councilmember?
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to delete mine. But,
Just we're just gonna delete Eric, or,
yeah, I don't want to delete me physically. Won't hurt, but I was gonna offer Shira, if she wanted to cover the parks, I could cover communication.
well, Parks was on Jay's. Sorry. Yeah. Checks,
Follow you.
yep. So, before we get into horse trading, because there we're getting into horse trading, I will give time for that. Right now, we're just add or delete particular topics.
You wanted to delete both yours.
Yeah, I just don't think they're just,
I would agree.
I mean,
They're not the sexy
it's
things to talk
not
about.
sexy at all, they're snooze fest.
I don't think most people know about that sewer rate change. I think well, it is a little bit, but I'm agreeing, the Marina Pump Station, I think the Marina Pump Station I would agree with, but I think somebody should, even if it's a blip, a 1-minute blip, cover sewer. Jay?
That's where I was going. I think that sewer and the water infrastructure is really important right now between the wells we're bringing on. Even a very, very one-liner on Foster Pilot. You know, the fact that we have negotiations going on, why we have I would say another sentence is the drought that's coming up. Whether we like it or not, we need to start notifying people. So that topic on the utility wise, there are several, I'll wait till they're done.
Yeah.
There are several good maps. There are 2 excellent good maps that are able to be projected for where wells are and the sewer and lift stations, just not to get doing that. So that's a topic. Speaking of utilities, I've been on it enough. If you want to flip, I'm good with that, but that's where I would put that one. And to let you know, I'd be more than glad to help you put it together on a PowerPoint.
Not bad, yeah.
Sorry. You've had your first bite. Anybody want a first bite before I give it, Councilman? Yep. Go for it, Mark.
I think the Oak Clifton intertie, the water intertie should fall underneath sewer and water as well, so that could come off of yours, John.
I didn't cover that. That was, if you guys got a first go that didn't mean to, but I think the mayor did.
There was a mention of that in transportation. So just because we mention it in one place doesn't mean that we shouldn't mention the impact on the other one.
Well, transportation's got a lot of.
No, I'm saying is, you know, just because one thing gets one doesn't mean that it doesn't get mentioned in another one, even if it's just passing on that. My 2 cents. Thank you.
Anybody else for a first bite?
About what we want to talk about?
Adds or deletes? No, we're not getting to individual people, what they want yet, but just
Okay,
topics.
then I'll wait.
No, if you guys feel that, the sewer rates is, right? That's what I thought, but everyone just sat here and tried to defend it, so I'm sitting here going,
it's important.
it's a snoo fest.
Well, if it's a loose tie between us, then it probably should be talked about, right?
All right, let's see how this goes, and we'll decide the end.
Yep. Did you have something more to add, or is
Well,
that it?
no, I
hear you.
no, that wasn't it. I like the earlier idea of what is it that we do as a city council.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
So I do too, right? Again,
I
part of
think
that
that topic.
is like, super high level in this 5 minutes, right? So, and I think that's okay here. But I'm really on board, and I hope the rest of you, because this was not a topic I was intended to bring up tonight. I was gonna wait till the mayor comes back and say something. But I like what Bremerton's doing, and I think we should bring something to that effect to this community,
Yeah.
right? And maybe that's not tomorrow, right? Maybe we see how it goes for them too, and learn from the things that went well as the things that stumbled. But I think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, I would need to know more about.
I would too, right?
But in terms of where we are today and what we do,
Okay.
I think.
So we could add
if-
that.
If you want to take that, that's great. I think it should be the first item up, frankly.
Yeah.
Oh dang, that means I won't be able to serve as the help people what is it called when they started yawning? I was like, let's get up, let's get up, hey everybody, meet each other. I know, so now if I go first, I won't be able to do that, but that's okay, I like it.
Okay, so we don't have a whole lot of actual change to that, so let's just dig into, do you want to change, do you want to horse trade? And before I ask that, I want to start with, is there anybody that does not want to change and know that they don't, because I have no problem locking that in and saying, that's okay.
Yes, and so I'll read you what I got, because I'm not sure you captured everything, but it's Bethel Phase 1, and then the Bethel Lincoln Roundabout, and then the Bethel and Lund Roundabout, and then the Sydney Road non-motorized improvements. So I'll just send you an email.
Well, we're trying to get this all done so that staff is doing it, so Sydney non-motorized. And what was the second?
So Bethel Phase 1, Bethel and Lincoln Roundabout,
So Bethel roundabout, what was the second roundabout?
Bethel and Lund Roundabout.
Oh, so you had Bethel and Lincoln, and then the upcoming Bethel, okay. Councilmember Chineri, you were next.
Well, I'd like to stay with mine with finance and traffic and police.
Right. Did I see, did you have
I'm
your
gonna
hands
keep
up?
mine. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I think,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear who spoke last.
sorry, that was Councilmember Chineri. He's gonna stay on finance and traffic, and police.
So you want a horse trade. I would be more than glad to take utilities. If you want to take comprehensive plan and parks, I would give you my notes on comprehensive plans and parks. But either way, I'd be more than glad to help you put a PowerPoint on both of those. Your choice.
Yeah, thank you. Real quick before I forget, because I will. I think Portrait Boulevard, I think are we gonna do that project pretty soon? Putting it on a diet and put a bike path through there?
No, that's not.
That's not anytime soon?
No.
Okay, 'cause I was gonna add that.
That
'cause
was part of the
I really like
pedestrian
that.
pathway
Okay.
discussion,
Okay.
but it's not happening
So
anytime.
that was anytime soon. That would have been a great one, going to downtown Port Orchard. So I thought that'd be a good one to add.
Yeah, I
I
can
don't
do
know.
that.
Yeah, that one should we should do that project faster. Shira, would you? Oh, I thought it was.
I offered to do, if you wanted the horse trade, that was. where-
Okay, okay, keep going.
No, I said, at the floor, I said that I'd stick with mine, or Eric wanted to trade, I'd be more than glad
So I
to
think there's
trade.
gonna be maybe a multi-trade here, and then she goes next, and I just want to catch her, and then we can get, then I will get a little more free-flowing in here, just because, due to time, so, yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep mine. I really like mine. And then you might be saying, I think you should go to communication if you're gonna be doing, that other topic.
So staff, Heidi would like to keep FIFA and downtown beautification.
There's a lot of changes too.
Okay, now I will kind of get a little more free-flowing, because, we got to,
More flexibility?
yes.
Shira, you wanted to, from what I understood, because we serve on the Givens Park Committee, or whatever what it's called, committee? Then it's committee?
It's a-
Stakeholders?
Stakeholders, yeah.
That was a topic that you wanted to cover?
No, not at this meeting, I just was saying that that's something we should talk about in this area.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's why I said, I already set my topic, I'm gonna cover, city council role.
oh, perfect. Then I'd like to cover the communication, because I think there's so much to cover on that when it comes to our, we have a new website coming on board, we have so many different things for communication. Even, I just signed up the other day for the website for the emails, because I wasn't signed up for them. I kept hearing, yeah, I know, I know.
Shame.
I still read them, but I didn't receive them. So I'd like to cover that.
Okay, so my question to the body here.
Yes.
Is there's two topics that are out there. One is utilities and one is comp plan parks. You can't cover both of those in 5 minutes. Which one is the most important? Because to me, quite frankly, they're both important. So I can only do one of those.
So you had comp plan parks, and what was the third one?
Comp plan parks, and then the other one was utilities. So if people feel, my problem is that utilities is not sexy, it's not visible, but it is important
It's our most
because
money.
it all flows downhill.
Our most money
You
spent.
know, so your choice, which one you want me to cover, I will cover it. But we can't do both.
Well, could you kind of say a little bit on the utilities, and then when there's a breakout session?
Took me 4 minutes and 30 seconds to cover comp plan and parks.
Comp plan's
Yeah.
big. I would like you to cover utilities.
I'm just gonna listen to, somebody assign me it, or you guys come up with
Is
consensus?
the drought included in utilities?
So, can I ask you this? Will you use all 5 minutes for communications, or would you like a second topic?
I could probably just say a topic, yeah.
So,
I'd say utilities.
he should do utilities?
Yeah.
I'll add both, I'll make it happen.
And it's real high level, I think
Maybe
it's.
just don't walk next to me real
it's-
fast,
It's,
It's real high level, you are correct.
you're right, like it's, hey, we made a change to sewer, and we did that so that, what you know is, you're actually paying your fair share now, instead of, you were carrying the load for
I was
business.
actually
and
talking about utility.
The actual
in
work?
progress, about
there's that too.
what our projects are. Very quickly, the past that have been, here's the future that's coming down the road. And then also, with the water and stuff. And then, also touching with, West Sound Utilities Districts, our interface.
So I might even just say, if he's gonna take a topic of utilities, he gets to cover what he likes in the time he
That's true.
gets. Was that what you were gonna say?
That and the fact that, didn't you handle some of that, the rate change in that?
Basically.
So you can streamline that, you'll get better with that, as you mentioned earlier.
I got comp and parks in.
Sounds like a
Got it.
I think communication, utilities, you choose what you're gonna do on utilities.
Great.
So that would leave
I got,
Jay with comp plan and parks, so you
Yep.
stayed the same?
yep. And I'll bring Givens into that.
And I guess I'll
That'd be good.
continue, again, this group, I don't know how much they're really gonna need. Being downtown, but it's the Bay Street Lift, the Community Center, Orchard Street Plaza, and the grants.
You're gonna have people from all
So,
over the city.
that's just
there,
true, that's just
okay?
true, but we were
Yeah.
talking about trying to tailor it to where we're gonna be, but, I'll just remain on the same, if
Yeah.
anybody has any other.
I would imagine we're gonna have an increased amount of conversation and questions in the pathway from the downtown crew, so.
Okay, I will, I don't believe I covered much of the pathway last time, but, I will. So, I'll keep mine the same with pathway. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Perfect. You have the one, you're the only one with one,
Yeah, that's a good
but
one.
it's a big topic. Do you want a second topic? Or you wanna keep everything a full 5 minutes there?
I feel like that's a good 5 minutes, unless I can, unless it makes sense, like it easily ties into that, I'll take another topic if it easily ties in. So what are the topics that you wanted, and I could tell you if it easily ties in?
I'm looking at some of these that were on the list that didn't get covered. Did you have anything maybe up there?
I thought we covered everything.
Fish passage and updates could technically, but I don't think that's something
That's,
super. We're gonna
Yeah.
have that one road kinda over by the high school there here shortly when they get that project going this summer, but that is still happening this summer? Yeah,
West Bay.
okay, I thought so too.
This is probably a tangent, and I apologize in advance. If you did not see the notice that in June, SR3 traffic is gonna be
16 days.
16 days, and even though it's not on city, it probably is gonna impact city right-of-ways, or city roads. So that's probably something that, I'm not sure.
So I think that's something we should have the mayor cover. We'll add that, because I agree
I'm
with Jay.
serious.
No,
I think it's gonna
I
impact
don't know if
the
you
city.
saw the mats.
Yeah.
It's going to go, they're gonna come off because they're not gonna be able to come through Gorst, right? Like, my business will be impacted. They're gonna have to turn off coming from Belfair onto Sunny Slope, which turns into Old Clifton. And that's going to
Lake
be the only
Flora.
way they're going to be able to get through.
It's Lake Flora to Sunny Slope.
They could Lake Flora too, or they can take,
Yeah.
straight to Slunny Slope and turn there, and then turn into Old Clifton to get to Highway 16.
Anyway,
So,
that's a tangent.
that's a
Sorry.
big deal. So, Mark and then Shira.
My hope would be
The mayor.
that the state would think far enough ahead to put some signs in Belfair to drive people down Old Belfair Highway as well, that are going.
Sorry, we cannot hear you, Councilmember.
It would be my hope to get folks down the Old Belfair Highway to get those folks that are going to Bremerton from the Mason County area to handle that old road, because that was the original path from Belfair to Gorst.
You can hope in one hand with the state, is what I'm gonna tell you, because I've been a part of it. Mailers did drop last week, so it did, both at my residence here in Port Orchard, as well as the business in unincorporated Kitsap County. So they are getting a little bit of information out there, but I don't think, and I think signs are already up. There's a sign up on Fegley Road already that's covered. I didn't know if that was the city or if that's the anticipation of the state. So I'm gonna cede real quick, because we are way off topic, but I'd rather
I'm
get the
sorry.
answer.
I apologize.
I'd rather get a quick answer, then I'm gonna go to Shira.
Yeah, so that is the state's traffic, their detours prepared for that project. And I did clarify, so SR 166 at Olney Creek on Mile Hill is summer of 2027.
It is 27, so it's not this summer. Thank you. Shira, you're on.
Eric, one thing that I could add into what my conversation is how to reach and communicate with council. So for instance, bringing up Coffee with the Council, our next town hall, and just in general, how to find our information on the website so that like they can find your email address. To be able to specifically email.
I might call you and we talk.
Yeah, sound good? All right.
Okay, I think we have topics. I think we have a format. The last piece is, we want PowerPoints, presentations, A-frame boards, those kinds of things. This is gonna take some work, because while we may have some of the pieces, it may take some actual work to get them printed or blown up or mounted to something. So none of us here speak for the mayor or staff, unfortunately. So I'm going to tell you, you're going to be at the staff's mercy if they can and would. If we're going to ask them, it would be my personal expectation, so take this as you will, that you would have that asked to them by the end of this week. That gives them a day short of 2 weeks to get that done. Again, if somebody's out on a week's vacation, they're getting caught up, that can be challenging. And so I just want to make sure that we're doing as best we can, and also understand that you're going to work within the confines of what they have. And we, as a city, will work with our host to see about having the ability to broadcast a PowerPoint or, well, whether it's on a TV or whatever they have in that space, we're gonna see what we can get done, whether what they have there or whether or not we gotta bring our own. I know my son has a little projector. I don't know if it still works. I don't even know how to use it, but.
Could we divorce that from the visuals? Because I think they're two different animals completely.
So I'm going to, again, because we don't have a say over that staff. I would just want to say, we're going to go ask for all the things, and we're going to get what we get.
So respectfully, do all of us want to do PowerPoint presentations?
I don't think you have to. I'm trying to allow that ability if that's what you prefer. I've heard from Councilmember Rosa Pepe that he'd like that ability.
As part of the 5-minute presentation? Or I
yeah.
guess I wasn't clear when.
It's gonna take, you know, the rule of thumb is 1 slide for 1 minute. I plan on having a slide on comprehensive plan as a blow up, and one for parks, and that's it. You know, but it's a visual that I can talk to when I talk about parks being distributed throughout the city. That's mine. So
I don't need one.
And if you don't need one, you don't need one, right? But if you do, I'm trying to be as flexible and trying to be able to get what we want done as a body without putting undue stress on staff.
Yeah, I mean, one's just hitting the plotter button, and the other is, okay, now I gotta prepare some slides, format it.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm trying to say that if you want that ability to use that, I'm going to try and make that happen. And we may learn that it works or it doesn't work, but how can we know till we try?
Yeah, and I think we have to be, I don't know if the city has standards, but if there's branding standards and all that, we've gotta be absolutely.
Again, these are things that staff will be working to help provide, and then if we're going to have them, we're going to have them all put into one, so you're not bringing your own. It's put ahead of time so that we can just go from one to the next to the next. Okay?
And that goes back to Mark's comment about doing the after action after the event, not before the event.
Yeah, well, again, at this moment.
I know, I'm just saying, so.
Yes. Okay. Anybody have any more around the visual aids in any way, shape, or form?
Just an observation, that I'm willing to have, one of the sheets share 2 projects, right? So it doesn't have to be 1 sheet per project. Mine are linear, so you could stack one on top of the other pretty easily.
All right. Am I able to put a pin in this one? Last call. Done. Thank you, team. Appreciate it. Item C.
Wait, I thought we were just done with that part of it.
Well, anything else? No, so.
I just wanted to add that, I think if we have a sign-in sheet that says, may we sign you up, do we have permission to sign you up for our subscription services? I checked.
I left that as a foregone conclusion that would happen. Sign-in sheet, feedback
I
sheet.
was curious about the legalities of it, but it doesn't seem to be worded.
Okay, yep.
Oh, wasn't that with the cards? I just wanted to clarify, because we were asking for a sign-in sheet, but I thought that's what the purpose of the cards was at the last meeting.
So the purpose of it was feedback cards, right? What did you like? What did you want to see?
Well, it didn't
Was
have
there
all
a
that other
topic?
information in it?
I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly what they look like. Again, I know only 2 of them got done. We'll let them figure out what that looks like, and we'll move forward from there. I know that we want a sign-in sheet because there are going to be people that won't fill out that feedback form, and we'd like to be able to chat at them. But we'll work with staff and see what they can provide.
Yeah, and I'll talk to Brandy about that.
So, has there been an invite sent out on the meeting? I don't have it on my calendar. Was there an invite sent out? Did anybody get one?
I
Should
put
be
them
on
my
our
calendar
government
when we
page.
talked about the
You were
nights they
supposed to,
were.
I guess, like, hand do it. Manual.
June 4th.
Thursday, June, is it June 4th?
Thursday,
Yep.
It's on our government page, though. Hasn't it been out on that?
Could be.
It's on my calendar. That's the news I got for you right now. Okay? Anything else on Town Hall before I put a pin in it? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to discussion item C, city-sponsored community events. There's no Mr. Director. This is you. Essentially, we wanted to talk about, and we talked about at our retreat, possibly revisiting. I know right now, when we started that conversation, we were talking about the senior parade and which community events we do and or do not support in a capacity where we take on the street closures, traffic support, and those kinds of things. Since then, we've found there's actually 9 different official ones that were codified in code here back in 2009 that say that it's Fathoms of Fun Parade, it's Summer Festival and Fireworks, it's Saints Carter Cruise, it's Festival by the Bay, it's Concerts by the Bay, it's Festival of Chimes and Lights, which has changed to Holiday on the Bay, Cedar Cove Days, the Chamber of Commerce Murder Mystery Weekend, and the Chamber of Commerce Seagull Calling Festival and Wings Cook-Off. We'll just have a conversation on, are there ones that we maybe need to remove from that list? And would we like to visit, outside of the one that's been proposed, any additional community events as well? We're going to start with Councilmember Rosepepe and then Fenton.
There's 2 questions to this. One is the ones where we have the resolutions for the events, and 2, the resolutions that are grandfathered for city cost in the events, which is...
One and the same here.
No, it's not one and the same.
That's what I was told.
Okay, it's not one and the same. There were 4 events that were grandfathered in to be paid where the city was providing security, traffic control, etc. These are not those events. Adding events on one hand and adding events for city assets, 2 different discussions. And so that's something. And lastly, if we get in a discussion about adding an event with payment or city resources, we may have to have a discussion about whether a council member needs to recluse themselves from those discussions.
Okay, so let's start with getting a read from Ms. Archer, because as I read the code, it says right here that the following community events are deemed to have benefit to the city at large and support tourism into the city, and thus may be supported by city personnel under the direction and control of the mayor and or his or her designated department director without requiring reimbursement of expenses. And they were all 9 of those things that were listed.
Go ahead.
So let's start with Ms. Archer to get clarification for that point before we move forward.
Absolutely. I agree that there's been conversation over time about the scope of sponsored events or ones that receive public services being limited in scope. Based on my reading of this resolution and my understanding from staff, this is the list of those that receive those services for free. But I think there's only a few left that continue to operate. So maybe that is why that list has been whittled down over time. From a legal perspective, the language that's included in this resolution is the process that we must undertake in order to avoid a potential gifting argument when we provide public services to entities without an expectation of compensation. We have to determine what that compensation is that we're receiving. And so when the council discusses modifying this list, there's a number of different levers you can pull, but we want to make sure to focus the conversation on events that, as these ones clearly were identified in 2009, provide some sort of public benefit for the city, including through the attraction of tourism to the city. So we will need to ensure that whatever events you're talking about, we have some cognizable nexus with a public purpose in order to avoid a gifting challenge. And that's why that language is in this resolution. And that's why presumably these 9 were selected, because that analysis was done in 2009. But that was a long-winded answer to your question, which is, I believe all of these receive subsidized services. I believe, I'm not sure if the chief is in the room or someone from the police department, but where additional traffic control is required, I believe that exceeds our in-house capability. I believe we are asking them to procure that themselves. But I'm not sure which of these that information, or excuse me, that requirement is levied upon. So I'll start there and then happy to answer follow-ups.
And I apologize, I cannot find the raise my hand feature on here. And this is Brandy. Hopefully you guys can hear me. And I'm not feeling well, so I'm not going to share my screen. I'm going to save you that screen share there. So I can just recap real quick that from a traffic control standpoint, the city a few years ago did not have the staffing to provide that service to the Saints Car Club as well as the Fathoms of Fun Parade. So those two organizations, although they are exempt from costs related to city personnel and traffic control, it was just determined at that time that we just don't have the staffing to do that, and they were required to provide that on their own. So they are. The other events, the Concerts by the Bay, Festival Chimes and Lights, Cedar Cove Days, the two chamber events, as well as the Fathoms of Fun, all of those do not require any, I take that back from Festival Chimes and Lights, do not require any traffic control. So from that standpoint, they do not inquire or acquire any city cost from personnel from traffic control. However, Public Works does go out and post signage for our roads and parking lots and parking places for the events that I just mentioned.
Jen.
Brandy, and I'm going to look at Mark also. We passed
Scott's here too.
And Scott's here too. We passed something limiting city assets funding to 4 events, I remember.
We called
We
them
grandfathered, and that's what I'm trying to find right now online. Is that something you can find or point us in the right direction? Sorry, didn't mean to leave you out.
No, that's right.
I don't recall, but I will look for that. I do know that probably 2012, 14, 16, right around there, the Mustangs on the waterfront wanted to come in and be added to this resolution. And because they did not require their level of traffic control based on their event and attendance, and I believe the council spoke that they just weren't interested in adding any additional events to this resolution. So that's all I recall, but I can go back into our archives and just look to see if there was any special action. It could have been just in the minutes with the motion, but no formal resolution from what I'm recalling.
Okay, Eric was thinking it was 2022, because I remember it was later than when I came on board, and I came on board 8 years ago, so.
That would fit for my time frame
Yeah,
also.
so would you, if you could check that, because I think, in all honesty, John, it's very germane to this discussion, what we passed.
Okay. Well, and I'd just be curious on what it was, because it sounded from Brandy that we didn't actually pass something. It was more of a tongue-in-cheek type of situation, is what she just said. So I too think if we need to find out. Councilmember Fenton.
Yeah, and are we kind of looking for updated stuff because there is no more Cedar Cove Days? And then you got two, what's that? The Festival by the Bay, and then you got Festival of Chimes of Lights. So now it's basically a holiday on the bay. But, and the chambers, yeah, and she said we're not closing any roads down, but this whole thing needs to be updated. Because the Chamber of Commerce, they don't do a murder mystery weekend. Then they do this seagull calling contest, but not a wings cook-off.
So, and I think that's what we're here to discuss tonight, right? If we need to update this ordinance, we need to give some guidance to staff on how we want to see that, so that they bring it back so that we can pass it.
Yeah, and well, are we going to talk about too? As one of them is like the senior, okay, boom. But yeah, this needs to.
Well, so
I'll recuse myself for that.
So, yeah, then that's when we need to start getting into specifics there. So, anything else before we start? Like, so we know of the one, right, that I brought forward at our retreat for the senior parade.
Yes.
Is there anything else we should be considering and thinking about our community?
I think that's the biggest one.
Outside of that, I'm with you. I don't think of any others that, again, would fit the, and have a bit benefit to the city at large, and support tourism, right? That's in there. I can't think of any others that I would add to that list, but I'm also, yeah, I don't have a hive mind by myself, so that's why I'm trying to use a hive mind. Okay, hearing none. I guess before we excuse Councilmember Warden for that conversation, are there ones, if we're going to make an update to this, that we should just take off this list?
There's about 4 of them that is take off. From like 6 down, 6, 8, 6, 7, oh, excuse me.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think this is irrelevant, because I've seen it. It was like 2022, and there was 4 on there. So, I mean, I think Brandy's gonna find it. She will. Okay. She'll find it.
Oh.
It was like 2022, I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm just saying we don't have these programs here. That's what I mean.
Okay. Well, we have 2 consummate professionals, I'm sure, working on it for us, that we'll find. Scott?
So I think regardless of what happens tonight, this should be updated. I agree.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
And then I'll just say, and this, we could talk more about this, but when you look at this current resolution, it talks about benefits to the city at large and supports tourism. And I think what we're gonna be talking about may not fit so cleanly into either of those, and so we should look at changing the language to this as well, so that it makes sure it's clearly got a lane, if that makes sense.
I'm open to it. We'll have that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's nothing else, thank you, Councilmember.
Just because this may go on a while, do we want to switch to number 4? And will Eric still here and kind of flip the subjects?
No, I'm in this one. This will be the last piece on this one, so we'll just get through it. Yeah, no, thank you, though, because I think D's probably going to take longer than finishing up C.
I can just let you know that I did do a quick search in 2022, and there was a lodging tax resolution that was passed, and there was 4 events that was involved in that regarding lodging tax funding and allocations. I'm not quite sure if that's what you're referring to.
And I also found an ordinance in 23 where we amended the chapter of the municipal code related to city assistance for events. And at that time, we talked about special events that have been exempted from the city council, by the city council, from personnel expenses in the form of a resolution shall not be subject to city expenses for, or to expenses for city support. So we reiterated and we actually put that in the municipal code. So at that time, there may have only been the 4 active events that were impacted by this code modification. That's a possibility as well.
So for cleanup on this, Ms. Archer, are we needing to clean up the original old one we were looking at, or, well, it doesn't really matter. We'll let you work through that because we'll come up with that list after.
What's the code, if I could ask?
Ordinance number?
What was that? I'm sorry. The ordinance number? It's, excuse me, it was in 21. Ordinance 053-21.
053-21.
And you had something else, Ms. Archer? Sorry.
I just wanted to, I know Brandy and I have both touched on the actual costs associated with these events. And as council is grappling with something that would have a fiscal impact to the city, I'd be remiss if I didn't communicate based on what I've, my discussions with the chief of police, that as these events are growing in size, our police force is of an inadequate size to staff these. So we are using mutual aid agreements to try to staff the events. And mutual aid is no longer providing that service without a cost. since these are events outside the scope of a normal mutual aid agreement. I do not have the numbers associated with that, but there would be an additional cost associated with some of these events to the extent the chief is able to get additional law enforcement assistance, as well as the fire department and the EMTs or EMS requiring payment for services associated with any additional events. We put certain events in our ILA with the fire department, but if we were to add to that list, we may need to negotiate those as well. So just some consideration factors as you mull expanding the scope of the sponsorship.
Mr. Pro Tem, it is Public Works Week, so I did want to add on to that. We love special events. Special events are great for every downtown and great for every community, but it's also the cost that you do not see. Every event we do impacts our labor resources. So if you add to and not add staffing or resources, something has to give. And I think the chief would agree with that same comment. So,
Yep.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so we're here to discuss, at this point now, just the senior parade, because that's the only other one to discuss. So I will open up the floor.
Okay, so going back to section 1, I think we need to change some language there, because like I said earlier, I don't know if you could argue very well that it supports the city at large or supports tourism, but there's definitely a public good to it. So I would say that we need to look at, if we want to move forward, we need to look at expanding that paragraph, that section.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm okay. Again, I can see it on both, right? Because I can say the same thing for both I'll just parade for parade fathoms versus the senior, right? I think you're getting a lot of the same. Yep.
From outside, these are just students, friends, and families quite often.
Can be coming from outside and that don't come downtown very often. Yeah, there could be a ton of stuff, right? I know grandmas that come in from out of town and those kinds of things as well. Yep. Jay and then Heidi.
I have two comments about it, and one is, of these organizations, including the senior parade, I'd like to know which ones are 501(c)(3)s on that, and why isn't the school district involved in helping to fund this?
That's a question I had. I thought we'd.
So I think there's more to this one. This was an event that came out of COVID. And the question is, what is the participation of the seniors at this point in time? Are we doing it for 100 seniors, 200 seniors, or do we get full participation? Because merchants sometimes get royally upset with this council when we close the street. So we may be bringing people in, but if we're shutting down their business, okay, when we're shutting down their business, that's negativity of what we talk about supporting downtown. Those, I guess it was 3 comments. I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's such a wonderful event. There, so many seniors participate. Eric would know the number. It's amazing, and you're down there for a while watching them. They get dressed up. They're in a boat. They're in the back of a truck. I mean, you think about this, how it evolved from 2020 to now. It's a big deal, and it's a big celebration. Not very many, I don't even think towns do this. I think this is quite unique. And so I'm a big supporter of it. All my kids graduated, but I am down there. And actually, I'm down there volunteering and helping out. And I think it helps the restaurants down there a lot. So I think it does bring in economic development.
Anybody else weighing in? Okay, Mark, and then I'm going to start with Mark. He put his finger up first.
Well, Jay took my first question, and that was why is the school district not involved in helping to fund this? Being on the finance committee, as I've been for several years, I'm concerned. This comes right out of our general fund. If we decide to do this, these funds come right out of our general fund, and we've been watching a downturn in revenues, sales taxes, REIT taxes, over the last 8 months to a year. We have inadequate police staffing to do this. And we've also just heard recently from Ms. Archer that one of the mutual agreements that we were using, mutual aid agreements, is no longer available, which is gonna hit us harder. Heidi, I agree with you. It's a wonderful event for our city, or for our community. I have some concerns about that, though. Adding more of a cut to our general funding. Public Works, we just heard from our Public Works Director as well, that it's a hit onto them as well. So I have some concerns about it. I'm not sold one way or the other, but I'm leaning towards, unfortunately, I'm leaning towards saying we need to chat with the school district and see what they will do to help support this as well.
I have answers to two of Jay's questions. I just want to wait till the end to get to that.
I want to hear this answer too.
Do you? Okay. Oh, so if you don't mind. So Jay actually prepped me with some questions last week, so I did some research on his behalf. I'm going to get it wrong, but I think it's like the Hype Squad or whatever the actual have an official name. Yeah, whatever it is a 501c3. And the school district has had some issues with being the sole person responsible because of liability issues and their insurance that way, was the response I got on those.
Mayor Pro Tem, Brandy has her hand raised,
Oh.
just when you're ready.
Okay, perfect. I want to make sure, are you okay with letting the clerk speak, Ms. Dedman?
Oh, yes.
Before I come up? Okay. Let's go to Ms. Wallace.
I just need to seek clarification on what it is that is being asked. So there's a different interpretation of my understanding of the ask is, are we adding this event to the resolution, meaning that we're going to provide traffic control and signage, that type of thing? Or is it more of the previous festival Chimes and Lights where staff is managing and, managing the event? I think there's a difference right now. The only one that the city, so at this point, the clerk's office has very little management of the events. The only one we do is Holiday on the Bay. It's pretty limited. Most of that's done by POWA now. So I guess I would just need clarification from the council what they envision when they add this event to the resolution. Is it just purely for public works and law enforcement and emergency services, from signage to traffic control? Or is it the assumption that the clerk's office is also going to prepare flyers and signups and manage the event from that aspect? So as you discuss, if you could also include what your direction would be from that standpoint as well.
Sure. Thanks, Ms. Wallace. I think that's a great call out for us. I was operating under the assumption that we would treat it the same as we would Fathoms. And so that's where I was coming from that place, rather than necessarily Holiday on the Bay. And I think most of us, other than maybe Councilmember Dedman, have been here since we formed Holiday on the Bay, and know that's kind of become amalgamation of what was once Holiday Festival Chimes and Lights, and now this amalgamation of both the city and POWA. It was my intention to ask for the same treatment as, say, a Fathoms of Fun, but I don't speak for all of them, Ms. Wallace, either. So before I give you a chance, I'm going to give her the opportunity to take her first bite. Otherwise, I can, if she wants to forego, I can.
So, when you were talking about how the language for tourism might still fit, and given that SK Hype is a 501c3, do we foresee that they'll be able to fund themselves using LTAC? And so something like the amount of money, do you understand my question?
I think there's more than one way to skin a cat. I think so. You're saying, could they come ask for that money in lodging tax as opposed to getting? Exactly. It's possible. We don't ask these other groups to do that as well. So I'm just.
Other groups funded by LTAC?
Some of them are. Some of them are not.
Wait,
they have to ask, right? They have to
right?
apply for it.
Okay, so there's 4. So we have Fathoms. They were funded by LTAC. What are the other three?
Probably Holiday on the Bay.
They're not fully
The
funded.
car, wasn't the car show?
And they're not fully funded. None of them are fully funded through LTAC
No,
either.
for sure. But I'm just saying that would help if they're getting that money, it would help offset what's happening, from, if we, right now covering the general fund. Just trying to think that through. So that the financial implications happening right now may not apply necessarily going forward. I guess that's what I was trying to consider.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk
Councilmember
about
Dino?
indemnifications. Question for Charlie. Charlie, my understanding is that we would be providing all of the support, but we wouldn't providing management. Would we be looking at the 501c3 to provide indemnification to the city?
I believe we have these applicants sign an agreement with the agency when we receive funding. But I will double check that with Brandy. So indemnity, the indemnification would have to come in the form of something signed by them. So I can double check that with Brandy.
Because the reason I bring it up is, as we all know, there are students that are riding in the back of boats and on trailers and those things that the chief would normally frown on. And if it's an insurance issue that the city's on the hook for, we really need to talk about whether that should be continued to be allowed. And I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but the reality is if somebody falls off a trailer under our watch.
Yeah, I wonder what we do for Fathoms, right?
Yes, the same thing.
Yep.
Have an answer.
Go for it.
So I can just clarify that when they put in a special event, they are required to have their own insurance.
Yeah, I think there's.
Okay.
But there is there is an RCW that allows people to be in the back of trucks without seat belts or security for special events. I was surprised.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think I am. It happens all over our state, so there had to be something in there, right? So,
Well, to add on to what Scott was saying, and again, not to detract from it, but when you have hot grills in the back of a truck and people grilling hamburgers on the back of the truck and handing
I don't
out-
think they're doing that.
That's what I heard from when I met with the chief.
there was a grill rolling last
When I met
year, I
with the chief,
recall.
that was one of his concerns about this
And
event.
that's a completely different story, right? Then we have a fire safety issue. There are some things, and people push boundaries.
Hey,
careful
yeah, well, and maybe there's some rules to go along with that. No grilling in the parade.
Did you have anything?
I just wanted to add that.
Okay. Councilmember Fenton.
And what is it, like a 2-hour block period? And it would be nice to see the whole, what exactly is the senior parade asking? You know, because I know they had to like buy even the oh gosh, the signs, and they had to do a lot. And so at least to help out in some way. So I think it'd be nice to have a little list and what is the percent, how many hours is it, is the road being closed for? I think it's 2 hours. Is that what we're looking at? I don't know.
I'm not sure. It can depend on what their application comes in each year, too. So I'm not going to get too into those details. But along that same vein, is it 3 hours? Okay.
Thank you.
So I was going to say, I would be in favor of treating them like Fathoms, right? I believe Fathoms actually has their own volunteers staff the street closures. Is that an accurate assessment, Ms. Wallace?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And as I understand that, the city provides them the street closure signs and those kinds of things, but it is their volunteer group that actually does the work. We create their traffic mitigation strategy and provide them the signs. Is that correct?
Fathoms actually hires a third party to manage the traffic control, and they provide a traffic control plan from that as part of the traffic control. So they provide the plan and they actually provide a third party that manages it. They also have their own signage. Public Works contributes to additional blockage, and I can have Public Works Director Ryan elaborate exactly what they do, but they do provide vehicles and barricades and other methods of making sure that when a side street is closed, that it is being protected from a mix of vehicle and pedestrian. So it's kind of a mixed collaborative between Public Works and Fathoms, but as far as the managing of the traffic control, they do hire a third party to manage that.
Perfect, okay. Would you be okay with me asking Director Ryan? So Director Ryan, can you give us that idea on a Fathoms? Because again, my hope is I think they bring similar community goodwill. I'm hoping that we could get to a point where we can support them in the same ways.
So we're talking about the Fathom, is it the car show?
No, Fathoms is our parade, June 20-something.
Right before, it's the
Right
weekend
before 4th of July.
Okay, I don't have that traffic control handy. I can't tell you. I could speak on the car show, the Holiday on the Harbor.
No, because those are distinctly different compared to this, and I want to keep it kind of apples to apples as best I can. And maybe that just means, because I don't believe we're getting anything done here before this yeah, so I think I'd like to know more about those details from Director Ryan and his staff, and kind of go through that, those details. I just, that's how I'm feeling. How did Jake?
I'd either like to move it to the next council meeting or to the next work study. I don't think there's an urgency here right now for this year.
I concur with that. I also want to say that, and say that I don't want to wait till right before the next one, like we did with the town hall stuff either. So I am going to ask this be on next month's study session. Is that fair?
Yes, I agree.
Is everybody in a queue?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Let's grab Councilmember Warden from the back there. And
fell asleep
if you
back there.
would, please, sir, gather up those informations and just have it ready for our next study session for us to digest and debrief. Thank you. That will bring us to discussion item D, mission, vision, values. As was discussed at our council retreat, we wanted to bring up the topic of mission, vision, and values. We have learned, I think, as a body, right, that we even already had some adopted by ordinance vision, mission statements dating way back all the way to 1992. And maybe even older than that. But so there are some things that we have. I have to tell you, I think we could be here all night to discuss this. So I'm going to open the floor with the staff did a body of work last year coming up with some I don't know that you call them government, I guess, values, government value, organizational values, that's the term I'm going to look for, as well as a mission and vision statements. I, out of simplicity, would say that it might make sense for us to adopt what the staff has to keep some uniformity as a organization as a whole, even though this body does stand kind of on its own as well. But I think it shows some uniformity and keeps a united voice of what the city represents to all of its constituents. I will say we were the lone part of the city that didn't have active input into this document that's in front of us here on the screen here this evening. That being said, if 100 and some of our employees that all had their say into that could come up with this as a group and did it, I think it would work for me. And we've already printed it, put it on the wall downstairs. And again, I'm not trying to say that we can't change that or do those kinds of things, but I think for simplicity purposes, I'd like to start by suggesting that and then opening the floor from there. So Scott had his hands raised first, and then we'll go to
So I looked at
Heidi.
all the documents that we have in our packet, and I don't see any fatal flaw in what's on screen here. And I know we could spend a lot of time wordsmithing something like this. It seems like every time we get into this, or the principles, we spend a lot of time talking about what are the best words to choose. But I feel like this gets us where we need to be. If there's something fatal, something important to the community we think we're missing as our servants to the community, then we should talk about that. But I feel like this is pretty solid. And I like the buy-in that the staff is going to be helping to implement the vision put together.
Councilmember Fenton and Councilmember Rose Pepe.
Well, we as city council members, we are different than a staff. And so I feel like on the service, their service is our commitment to helping our colleagues. So that's like those guys. It's not, I mean, I like this and I like it, but there could be a little tweak because, we got voted in by the people and in our community. So I just feel like it's hitting us, but not as council members. It's a little off, but that's just my little thinking on this.
Okay. Councilmember Rose Pepe, then Ward.
To be honest with you, we could be here all night, all year, wordsmithing this. This is a great overview. I think it meets supporting our community, and it meets supporting, as a legislative body, it meets supporting our workforce. And so I would say that we move forward with this. We can always take a hard look at it later, but there's no, to quote Scott, there's no fatal flaws.
Okay. Councilmember Warden.
Yeah, I do agree with Heidi on the service part, but I'll be honest, I don't have any interest in breaking this apart. I read it over, I like it. I thought this whole thing came about because we weren't real pleased with the guiding principles that were being read out loud before the meetings, and a mission statement came up, and this was presented in front of us, and I thought the topic was reading a mission statement versus guiding principles. I like the mission statement a lot. I thought that was the topic that we were discussing. This right here, I'm good with it. A lot of work put into it, a lot of thoughts. No, not every ounce of it meets what we do, but
overall.
And even more than overall, right? I'll say, instead of saying that, I'll say and it definitely hits on all facets. Would I like to see the mission statement read at council meetings? For sure, absolutely, over guiding principles.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested, just to be honest, with breaking that apart. That's just me.
Councilmember Generic.
Unbelievable. You don't want to sit here for the next 4 hours and wordsmith.
No, I don't even.
I think you and I have the same thing in mind right now.
It fits 95 to 100% of what we are looking for as a body. Yeah, there are some tweaks we could make. No, the staff put it together. In my opinion, it's great. It's a great document. Move forward.
Council member.
We have one more council member that we haven't heard from.
Because I had nothing to add.
Okay, perfect. That is perfectly acceptable. Councilmember Rose Pepe.
I had a very interesting come to whatever you want to say moment in 2010 when I was on the school board. We adopted a vision statement, and it lasted almost 15 years. I was surprised. It's been changed, and it changed for a good reason. So things change over time. This is something that we can adopt. When we put together the guiding principles 8 years ago, it scratched an itch, so to speak. There are different feelings in this council about whether they should exist or not. And at some point in time, it may be time to take those down and embrace, get the sign that's down below and put it up, put a copy up here also. So that's my way of saying, things change, we move forward. Is this better than what we had, since we didn't have one as a city? Yes, so I would say we adopt it and move forward. Those are my 2 cents.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll leave my last 2 pennies as well. I like what's presented. I really like our mission and vision. I got to be honest. I don't know how I would change that, right? Our mission is to deliver exceptional public service, ensure safety, enhance quality of life, and continuously improve our community. If that doesn't wrap up everything we do, I don't know what would. So,
Because we're continually trying.
because we are, right? And so I'm all on board. I would like to suggest, based off of what I hear, that we move forward with adopting this at our next meeting as our official and replace whatever previous resolutions may or may not have been in place with one around this one. And then I think at that meeting, we can, after adoption, we can talk to the mayor if we want to have a similarly changed out sign. We can have that conversation. And or if we want to do that, we can even ask to have something else read at the beginning of a meeting, because I would love to hear our mission read at our meeting, because I think a reminder of a focus on that is helpful before starting any of our body of work. Is that, get the thumbs? Okay, moving forward with that. Thank you. We got through all that. Good of the order. Well, before I get to the good of the order, let me give you the mayor's report. Just playing. He didn't give me one. I did talk to him earlier today. I was just playing. He doesn't, but I had to give him a little poke just because I can. Good of the order.
You're funny.
Mark?
Get this over here in advance. Yeah, I had the privilege of speaking with a couple of Port of Bremerton officials in regards to our downtown areas. We've had over the years complaints from our citizens up on the Hill and other citizens about the goings-on down at the, what I call the gazebo park area. And the port officials have assured me that they're working on some additional signage down there, as well as they're going to be bringing in their own staffing of patrolling to help calm things down, and they're aware of the problems, the uprisings we see during the summertime. They're trying to get that started here within the next week to 2 weeks. So we should have some additional help in keeping the peace down there in that park area. So I think that was wonderful news I wanted to share with you all.
I got a question about that.
Go for it.
What authority will their patrol have? Like, if they're just walking around, like I've seen them do in the past, and they don't have any authority to ticket or anything like that, people aren't gonna, the kids aren't gonna listen to them.
No, trespass, they gotta go.
Will they be able to trespass?
Well,
The same authority they do at the rest of the port properties around the county, and they also will be working closely with the city, with the police staff, so that we can have some quick response down there when needed. Hopefully it's not needed, but
Hopefully not. I mean, at some point, if it doesn't abate, then we have to talk about, well, what does it look like to close that off at a certain point?
hopefully not.
did you have your hand up? I'm trying to think.
I was gonna say, good of the order. Mosquito Fleet this weekend.
Yeah.
I thought you did.
Definitely a huge shout out to Sarah Butler for all the hard work she did, organization, the Rotary out there. I mean, the amount of mulch those guys did was incredible. I can only imagine. I ran away from that. But the amount of people, last year there was 2 people that showed up. 2.
What's it?
2.
This year, there was too many people.
This year, it was done so quick, all the things listed. Augusta Landscaping was out there. They brought crew that were out there working. That was fantastic, seeing businesses as well. But the amount of people that showed up today or Saturday was jaw-dropping. It was fantastic. So give me a chance. Give me a chance. All right. So Public Works, please tell your staff. They walked around doing planters. They walked around doing every aspect of it.
Yep.
And then they flooded the baskets and the planters full of water afterwards. Tell them thank you. And I'm encouraging, not just because I'm a Public Works employee, but it is Public Works Week, right? It's on Facebook. So I think if we see them out there as well, tell them thank you, because it is a thankless job, but yeah.
It was great.
I'm going to come to Shira next, but I would just echo all of that from all of us. Please make sure everyone on your staff knows these sentiments.
Absolutely, I have all week, and every time you see them, give them a thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember?
Yes, I actually have two for good of the orders. Since we're thanking Public Works, thank you for putting a trash can next to the playground in Gibbons Park. It makes a huge difference in being help be able to keep that playground clean. Because I know when I see things, I just pick them up and easily able to do that. So thank you for making that happen. I really appreciate that. The second note for the good of the order is one of the things that I forgot to explicitly mention in our drone delivery discussion was that I should have asked them, we should look into the impact of these drones on folks with neurodivergence and PTSD. Because these things have potential for having impact to these folks in our community.
That's an
And just to kind of, because I looked into some of this, right, and asked some of these questions ahead of time, we can't actually regulate any drone in the air,
No, I
right?
don't.
So as long as it didn't lift off from somewhere within city limits, that drone can be anywhere and everywhere.
Absolutely, but I meant in terms of us allowing it.
Correct. No, I'm just
basically
saying.
in our space, because we cannot control where it goes. So that's why we have to be extra careful about wanting to allow that usage in our city. And I would say facilitating that in our city, being that it might have larger, health implications for folks like on the spectrum or who have trauma-related disorders.
Yeah, no, I was just surprised to learn how little control we actually have over that, right? It's only if or where they land. Go ahead.
So my good of the order was gonna be me dipping out and talking to them.
Oh, okay.
Councilmember Diener, we can't hear you. Apologies.
So, I told the Walmart and Wing person that, it'd be really nice to see what the after review of a full rollout looks like in some of the cities that they've done. Some of the cities present much more obstacles to delivery than what we have by virtue of them being dense cities and tall buildings and such. But they said they could provide that information to us. Now, you kind of have to take it for what it's worth coming from the source, and do your own research a bit. But they will be, as I learned, talking to the county and I suspect Paulsville, the county within the next few days. I'm guessing Paulsville, but they said that we would be the first in the state if we went with this question. Not that that is important, just we were wondering if there was much.
over in Seattle, they are not allowed to do any drones over there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Seattle, not Tacoma, because I had for our Rotary, we had a SWAT Ty. He talked to us, and he said over in wasn't it? Were you there on there? Yeah, I think it's Seattle.
He
not
was
allowed to do
working off
any
of, different,
drones.
They can run drones. They can't do some of the inside ones that he had, but yeah.
Interesting, though.
Yep, it is. In fact, I saw my last drone was in Seattle, so we are
To the order?
adjourned.
Okay, boom, thank you.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.